into a 16 unit. So you can imagine the property you bought in 2012, when I put down 3.5%, that was what we put down back then. It's made so much money right now that it was good enough for us to buy a 16 unit in 2021. That's like from 11.
Hello, and welcome to Small Biz Catalyst. I am your host, Ayiset Abilogan. Join me as we explore ways that we as small business owners can pay ourselves a growing six-figure salary without pulling out our hair. Whether you're a small business owner or an economic development professional, this show is for you. Let's explore together. Hi, everyone, and hello, Dayo. It is so nice to have you on Small Biz Catalyst today. You've got a very impressive resume, but one of the things that drew me to you is you have fun while you play, because I know real estate is not your only business.
Yeah, I'm a man of many, things that I do. I get my hands dirty a lot. So yeah.
But you have fun in each one of them, because one of the things that, even though I met you a few years ago, I really noticed again, we got connected again on Instagram because you were having fun on Saturday, where you emceed an event that was so near and dear to me. And I thought, oh my gosh. Then, of course, I started seeing stuff about your real estate. And then I remembered when Matt, as you do a lot. Now, one of the things that really just attracted me to you is the fact that you actually have a BSc in engineering. Just wanted to kind of let our audience know who you are. You have a BSc in engineering, and you are also a project management professional, and somehow you found yourself in real estate. Before we get into that, though, I want to share a few things. So if you're new to Small Biz Catalyst or you've listened to us before in the past, today's episode is all about using real estate as a growth income tool. So in today's episode, you're going to learn how to use real estate as a tool for growth, what it entails, what are some tools that would help you grow your real estate business. So maybe you've been thinking about it, or you're just not sure, or maybe you've heard a lot about it and you think it's all bogus. Today's episode is to clear some of those myths with somebody who is really the real deal in real estate. Daya's been doing real estate investing for a while, is at his journey. I wanted to bring somebody who is down to earth, that we can relate to, but at the same time is successful in the industry. So today you're in for a treat. Join us as we delve into real estate as a growth income tool. So Dayo, again, welcome to Small Biz Catalyst. Tell us, what attracted you to real estate? Because I don't want to spoil some of the things I will. I know you were in Facebook, a big tech giant for a while. So tell us, how did you end up in real estate? What attracted you to it?
Wow. Well, it's first of all, thank you for having me. It's good to reconnect again. And not just that we have mutual friends. Your brother is my friend. We went to that. So we went to Lagos State University back in Nigeria. And we also worked together at Facebook back in the days. So what attracted me to real estate? Wow. Let me try and make it short a little bit. So that, yeah, my wife and I, we bought our first house in 2012. And when we bought our first house, like everybody else, either your career made you move, and we didn't sell the house. So we started renting. Then all of a sudden, I picked interest, started like, okay, what can we do with this house? And that was when 2016, we didn't know what to do with the house, honestly. We just kept renting it. It was acquiring equity, paying down the mortgage. Then 2016, I lost my job with Microsoft. So I was laid off in Microsoft. I used to live in Seattle, Bellevue area. And when I when I got a new job that was with Facebook, then I started like, okay, I don't want the same thing that happened to me to happen again. How do I mitigate this issue if it happens again? And that was when real estate piqued my interest. I started like, what are the vehicles, to make sure that I don't get into this mess again, or I have residual income, or I have generational wealth. So that was real estate was the vehicle that kind of like, appealed to me. So that was when I started reading books. I read books a lot. That was how I got into real estate, books, podcasts. I got curious and everything. So by 2019, we found our LLC, and I figured out that,
Congratulations.
thank you. How do I have money? I'm like, I don't have money for real estate. I don't know. Then reading those books, listening to those podcasts, I found out that, hey, I can do a cash out refinance on my property. So the property we bought in 2012 is actually grown a lot, that we were able to pull out 50,000 from.
But I'm gonna have to pull back a little bit because not everybody is like savvy. So what's a cash out refinance? I mean, you might say, oh, the words are clear, everybody should know, but not everybody has been in real estate for a while like you are. So you may not know the terminology. So please tell us.
Yeah, a cash out refinance basically means, you have equity in your property. So when you have equity, equity means money basically. When you have money in your property, remember I said we bought the house in 2012. Between 2012 and 2019, we moved out of the house 2014. So we rented it out. So between 2014 and 2019, that's 5 years. Somebody was paying down the mortgage for us. So pay the principal, which is they call it the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and we still have some cash flow. So because they were paying down the principal for us, we were having some little money for over 5 years. When you pull all that together, and the fact that the property has appreciated in value after a long time, so everything all together, you call it equity. So you do a cash out refinance, you go to the mortgage company, like a bank, you tell them, oh, my house is worth, used to be X amount, now it's worth X plus 5. I'm gonna take out the 5 out of it. And that was how we did a refinance. They will give you a new mortgage, a new interest rate, and you will get free money.
So if I bought my house at 350 and now it's what $550,000, I can go to the bank and get $550,000
No,
or
no, that's not how
okay.
it works.
So will I get $350,000?
No, so basically there's a math for it.
Okay.
Basically, you
So
can
would it
pull
be
out
550 minus 350, which would be $200,000?
well, so let me explain the way it works, and I think if I
Yes.
remember very, very well. Um, Whatever your house is worth, you want to make sure that you can pull out money and still have 20% in the house.
Oh, so 80% of the current value.
You can take it out, yes.
So which would be 80% of $550,000 if that's what my house is what right now.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's good to know. So, guys, I am taking notes.
So yeah, basically I did a cash out refinance. This is what my house is worth. From the equity that was on it, I was able to take out 50,000 from it. So I took out the 50,000, and that was what we used to start our real estate journey. And we were able to reinvest, to start buying properties back then in Georgia. Then from Georgia, we kept growing. Then that was it.
Wow, pretty cool. I love that. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people who are trying to do real estate right now are going, oh my gosh, what else? How much is my own worth? How much could I get out of it? So that's pretty cool. I know when you started out, even with one house, now you're more into commercial real estate. You're not just in residential real estate anymore. What are some mistakes or lessons that you've learned along the way as you've journeyed into investing? Because I've seen some of your flip videos. I've seen the Juanata videos. Guys, if you don't know this guy, follow him on Instagram. It's called, what is it called?
Dayo
Blooming
Jegede.
Edge.
Yeah, Blooming Edge. You can follow Blooming Edge, or you can follow me directly, Dayo Jegze, Dayojegz. I think, yeah. But
Okay.
Blooming Edge is easy. Blooming Edge,
Dayojegedz. Okay.
yeah, Jegze. That's what they
Okay,
call
and
me.
that's on Instagram. That's awesome. We're gonna put that in the show notes. You guys, you're gonna see some really fabulous flips. All right. So, what are some mistakes that you've made during this process? That lessons that you've learned that you wouldn't want somebody else to make, or you wish things you wish you knew back in 2017.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've learned is you don't buy property in a bad neighborhood. It's very important. I've been hot with it. I've invested in, we've invested in some neighborhoods here in Texas, back in Atlanta, in Georgia, and those neighborhoods, yeah, the properties might look cheap, but the edit that comes with it is a lot. There's really no real classification for it,
Mm.
but it's like class A, class B, class C, class D. Class A is like when you're living in a highbrow place where you're close to everything, you're close to the mall, you're like 5 minutes from the airport, you're very close to everything to really make life happen. Sometimes downtown or midtown, all those places can be just like few, just a tray away. So that's how I say. And they are expensive, the rent is expensive. Class B is always like, a little bit lower, whereby you 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 probably have to do like a 10 minutes drive from somewhere important. You're good. Class C, you probably get into us like, it can qualify for a B, but you're far from everything.
Okay.
But the neighborhood is still not too bad. There's no crime, little access to roads. But class D is totally bad, basically. Class D is like when you are in the bad neighborhoods, there's always, police, there's always like drugs, things going on there. So I've been involved in some class C and class D, and I think my biggest mistake was thinking that buying a cheap property is gonna be good. So when I bought those properties, it was cheap, but the headache I went through, the rehab, the cost of eviction, the fact that you have to keep chasing your tenants to pay rent before you can pay your mortgage. I think that was a very big deal. And I learned from that at a very early stage of my real estate investment, not to make that mistake. So I've learned some other things, but that was the biggest one. And I can go into more if you want.
So grades matter when you're buying a property that you want to keep as an investment property. Don't just go for cheap. Go for something that it's in a neighborhood where the people who live there are not. They will pay you constantly.
They'll pay you. House and location. So let's not say grade, location. Because the grades are like something that people made up. So
Yeah.
it can be class ABC, can be class AB, but basically buy in a good location, neighborhood.
So location, location, location is key.
There they go.
Hey there, if you're just joining us, this is Small Biz Catalyst. We would like to invite you into Tag a Business Team. Here's what you need to do: nominate a small business of your choice, tag them on our website at smallbizcatalyst.org. That's small, BIZCATALYST.org. Tell us your name, give us your email address because that's how we'll be able to tell you if you're a winner or not. And then give us a website to a business of your choice. It could be your business or somebody else's. Once you've tagged the business, you'll be entered for a $25 drawing to a local business of your choice. We'll announce winners every month. And now, back to the show.
So you finish the location.
So, talking about location, this actually segues very well into the next question. How do you choose which properties to invest in, and what are some of the tools that you use to choose these properties?
Yeah. So basically, there's so many ways you can invest. So if you're asking me, I've done a single family, I've done multifamily, I'm currently doing flips, building commercial from ground up. So I'm kind of like, yeah, tried a couple of things. So I would say it depends on everybody. So are you asking me my or just the general how people should think about?
What would you tell our audience today who are trying to kind of determine if real estate is a toolbox that they want to invest in?
I think I'll probably advise them to start from single family, honestly,
Okay.
because it's like a step. If you have the funds, you don't have to move out of your house. You can just buy a single family. When you buy your primary home, either you get a FHA loan, you can put 3.5% down,
Yeah.
or you do conventional, you put 20% down. But when you are buying your own, maybe you use your LLC or use your own name to buy your first investment property, you're probably going to drop 20% down because it's a business property. So when you're doing that with a conventional loan, I think it's easier just to buy a single family to start with. When you learn how to manage one or two single family, you can move to the next one. Maybe buy a duplex, maybe buy a triplex or a fourplex. Now, the good thing is either you buy a single family, duplex, triplex, or fourplex, they are all under the same, they're classified under the same kind of home, single family homes. So whatever you can do because of the 20% down, you know, the more the property you want to buy, the value, the more the 20% you have to bring to the table.
I see.
You know, except maybe you're working with someone that can do a DSCR loan or get creative with, your loan. But I would encourage them buy a single family or a duplex. Then as you learn real estate, you can start moving into the units, 6 units, and you can get more into the commercial
So
space.
you used a technical term that some of our audience might not be very familiar with. What's a DSCR loan?
Yeah, DSCR means debt to service coverage ratio. So basically, the bank, I think is 1.2. That is good. They consider your debt, compared to the loan to your income. So that's what is going to determine if you can get that loan. Most times, if you are buying a property and the rents can cover the mortgage, I'm not sure about this, but I think once you are above 1.2, then you are good. So that means your DSCR loan is good. Your debt to the money that you bring in when they do the math times 100%. So once you're above 1.2, then you're good. And that means that the rent of that property, it can cover the loan that the bank is giving you. Then DSCR works. And that is an easier way to get qualified compared to when the banks want you to bring, your birth certificate, your social security. It's what you ate last night, everything, so that's like the normal mortgage process. And
Yes.
they don't want to, it's okay for you to take money out of your account, but if money comes into your account, then there's a problem. Gotta write a letter. So, but DSCR makes it way more easier and you get creative with the banking.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that information. I'm wondering, is there a story in particular that you in your real estate journey that you think would be really cool to share with our audience?
Wow, the good or the bad.
How about one of each?
So when I was buying duplexes well, this was a single family, and it was actually my wife's name back in Georgia. We bought a actually it was a duplex. Come to think about it, Del Park. It was a duplex. I just remembered now. We bought a duplex whereby one of the tenants, oh my god, he was a pain. She was something else. She stressed me so much. My wife started calling her my girlfriend. Like Jesus, it was a lot. She won't pay her rent on time. When she eventually pays the rent, that is when she will tell you the water is not working, the toilet is not flushing. Like she comes up with so many troubles every time. Like every time I have to chase her like on the 15th before she pays rent, then she's crying, please help me, don't evict me, because if I evict her, it's gonna go on our record. And then it might be even hard for her to, move out. And so even to get another place. Now, I have to, when she tries to get another place, the next landlord or owner is going to ask me for a referral. Now, I don't want them to get a bad referral because, oh, she's not going to move out. Also, I'd want her to leave my place. So I'm like in a dilemma. Like, how's my blood? And also want to let her leave my house. So she was a pain. She was a pain in the back, and he was a lot of. It took me like almost 3-4 months before I could get rid of her. After
Wow.
almost 6 months of not paying rent.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was a pain, but like I said, location, location, location.
Yeah.
I think the problem was I bought in the wrong location. I attracted the wrong people, and it led to the wrong people not paying rent. So that was a big one for me. But I really put that behind me, and I'm doing better now. You want a good story, right?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think one of the cool story was we bought a property. I don't manage that property right now. It's a 16 units. Bought a property that was really good during like when the pandemic was facing out. And what we did was, you remember the house I told you we bought in 2012? By 2021, I think, we sold it. So we sold the property, we made good money off it. Then that was when I learned about 1031 exchange.
Yes.
I will talk about 1031, but I was
We
able to
should. We should.
I was
That's
able
a
to
good one.
transfer all the money from that property into a 16 unit. So you can imagine the property you bought in 2012, when I put down 3.5%, that was what we put down back then. It's made so much money right now that it was good enough for us to buy a 16 units in 2021. That's like from 11 years later or 9 years since 9 years later. So 2012, yeah, 9 years later. So we bought a 16 units and we were actually able to give it to a property management company to manage for us. So I don't have to do the headache of it. The good thing about it is it's actually a like an assisted living for seniors. So the government actually pays most of the rent, while
Awesome.
government pays part of it. So we don't have to chase people around to pay the rent, and it was very comforting, and which it took us time to get to that process to learn and everything. But that's one of my portfolio that is doing very great, and I go to bed not worrying about that one.
Okay, I cannot help but ask, how did you get it to become a government rental, like a living assistant for that the government is renting? I'm just super curious about that.
That's fine. That's good. So there's a program for it. And well, I didn't I was going to get into this, so I didn't remember the name. Now, this is not a section 8,
Yeah.
but this is like a section 8 for adult living.
Oh, wow.
So I can't remember what it's called. Sorry if you
If you send me the name, I'll put it in the link.
okay, all right, I'll look for it. So it's like section 8 for adults. So you have to be, I think, 65 or 68 for you to qualify.
Yes.
So they don't mess up your apartment like, normal renters. So
Right.
it's easy. And government, based on their income, government pays like maybe 80% or 90% of
Of their rental.
their rent. So it makes it very easy.
Yeah.
How did I get into it? We were actually lucky. That property was already zoned for the program.
Yes.
I don't remember the name. It starts with a P, but I can't remember the name. Sorry. But that
We'll
program
put
was
the
already
name in the for you listeners, we'll put the name. I'm gonna get it from him and we're gonna put the name in the show
approved.
notes. Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, so we already bought the property and it was already zoned for that program. So it was easy for us to just keep going with the program. Now you can also rent it to normal people. It's not like only the government. So if you don't have anybody that is 65 above, I think it has 65 or 68. I know it's less than 70.
Yeah.
If you don't have anybody, you can rent it to normal citizen or something. So it made it very easy for us. We don't struggle to find people to rent the property to. There's always a waiting list. So it's pretty cool. So
Which is
that's a good thing.
okay, we definitely have to put that, whatever that program is called, in the show notes. So I'm holding you to it. So another thing that I've noticed, I mean, you and your wife actually work together on a couple of projects, and it's so much fun to watch you on social media doing different things, working, not only in the investment business. I know you MC on weekends. Sorry, I'm putting all your business out there. Guys, Eden and Nancy, this is your guy. I mean, you would have fun. And I love that you two work together very well. And I think it really helped. What do you think that brings to your business, that relationship, having a healthy relationship? How does that help your business?
It's actually fun. I think being able to understand each other's strengths and complement it goes a long way. We'll be married for by next month will be 12 years. So we've come a long way. So basically, of course, every marriage has had its own cycle. But after a while, we got to understand each other's strengths. I'm good with the real estate. Maybe because I talk a lot, I don't know, or because I read a lot. But whatever the case is, my wife is really passionate with interior decor and she's really good with social media. So most of the videos that you see, she edits it. We also have a media team that helps us Reflection Universe. So let me put them in there. They help us with some editing. But my wife, if you see anything where I'm doing MC, some quick interior decor, that's my wife. So she loves doing all that. So knowing our strengths, knowing what she can do and knowing what I can do, we decide to come together and create something. So it also makes it easier for us to have something to always talk about. So when I do real estate, at the end of the day, during dinner, how was your day? I tell all my stories. Then she tell me all the cool things she wants to do. When I fix property, she's already seen all the visions of how she's gonna decorate the place, make it look good. It makes it more fun. Then she goes into our social media thing. She buys all this stuff. She's like, hey, I want this one here, that one there. So I know that was a time we used to like argue because I want to be involved in that. Then I found out that I'm not good at it. So I said,
Love the experts do that. That's
I'm all cheating. I do my thing. And we kind of like just complement each other. knowing what our strengths and weaknesses is and how we can help support each other. So yeah.
So I have one last question for you. Last question. What advice do you have for today's entrepreneur?
Whew. I've read a lot and I've heard so many things. So just to give you context, I jumped into the entrepreneur spirit. People say I shouldn't say I was laid off, but the truth was I was laid off at Meta, that's Facebook, last year. And I decided not to go back. And it wasn't gonna be easy. And I knew that, entrepreneur has its own challenges. It's something I've been doing on the side before the layoff came up. But my advice would be this. It's gonna be hard, it's gonna be tough. The days you might cry, you might doubt yourself. So one thing I told myself was just jump. That's what I called it. When people ask me, Dayo, how would you say your entrepreneur journey is? I just say jump. When I decided to go into entrepreneur, I made a post on my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and I think my Instagram. And it was I just said jump. I said jump and I put a Bible verse there, which, I discussed with my wife. We agreed on it. And I was like, when you jump, you don't look back. So don't look back, just jump. Trust what you believe in, trust your instinct. Hopefully, you have a partner that can support you. That's why I'm able to jump successfully. And I think I'm doing okay for now. But my advice would be this: if you are convinced that you're on the right path, jump and don't look back. That's what I was.
Wow. Okay, so I know you said a lot, and I just want to unpack some of those things. Your journey to entrepreneurship was unexpected because you got laid off. And thank you for being so real about that and just letting that out there. Because for a lot of us, kind of like, with social media, we paint the beautiful pictures, the roses, and we forget that there's a background to that. There are thorny bushes to it. So you weren't expecting this, and I know it wasn't like you were fired. You were laid off because Facebook laid off a lot of people that time.
In 2000. So
Happens a lot of them.
And if you didn't have this to fall back on, you had already experimented and you were growing in it, didn't even know what to do, and you just decided to go and embrace it full time. Yes. And now you're not only just doing residential, you're doing commercial properties. And I've seen some of your portfolios. I mean, it's very impressive. And you're not working alone. You're collaborating because I know you've got investors with you. You've got partners that you work with. So you're not just doing this by yourself. You're actually, taking a village with you. And I know you're mentoring people, but at the same time, you're leaning on others.
yeah,
Is that true? Well,
that is with you.
thank you so much for just giving us a glimpse into your journey and and helping us realize how we could use real estate as a tool. There was something you mentioned I forgot to share. That's the 1031 exchange. For those of you who don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. So 1031 exchange is when you sell your real estate property, you don't have to pay taxes on it right away. You can put it in an account. It's called 1031 exchange. And for 6 months, you can decide what you want to do with it. If you put it into another real estate business, then you pay zero taxes on it. Am I correct?
Yes, you pay it in the future when you eventually sell.
When you eventually sell that. But for now, you have money that you can do something with, you can use, and then it becomes an investment tool for you, and you pay zero taxes on it. And if in future you sell that other property and then you put it into another 1031 and buy something
You just
else,
keep rolling
you
it,
can,
rolling it,
yeah.
rolling it.
So you and Uncle Sam can be friends that way. You can say, Uncle Sam, I owe you in the future, but we don't know what the future is. And that's what it
Just
what it
tells you can avoid it totally. There's a way.
next time you're on here, we want to hear that. But you, oh, you, is that a 1 minute tip you can tell us how you can avoid it totally?
It's called debt. When you die, you don't pay 1031 taxes. So
Ooh, okay. So keep rolling it over till you die. I like.
going in until you die, your estate will not pay 1031.
Wow. Okay.
It's good.
You've given us so many nuggets today, and thank you so much for coming on Small Biz Catalyst. It was such a pleasure to have you as a
It's been
guest.
great having
I've
you.
learned so much, and I want to recap. Cash out finance is the way to get money out of your current property in order to invest in future properties. And you can get up to 80% of your current value. The debt to service coverage ratio, that's DSCR loans, are tools that you can use to easily boycott some of the excessive burdens of getting into real estate investing. And I would say if you haven't listened to episode 12, 11, 13, and 14, where we talk about financial statements and things like that, this might be a good time to go back and listen because it talks about your debt to service ratio. And that's pretty much what the DSCR is, or very similar to what that is. And of course, we're going to post the name of the program that covers Section 8 for adult living, where you can rent out your property to the government. Government pays about 80%, and your renters pay only 20%, and they're all adults on a fixed income, but because the rent is so low, you still get most of your money, or at least even if you're getting 80%, you're happy. And of course, lean, have your village, whether that's your spouse, investors, mentors, mentees, have your village so that you're not walking it alone. That's my recap today. And I just want to say thank you again. And if you need an MC, this guy travels. I've seen some of your travel videos. He travels to wherever you are to MC your occasion. And I know you do weddings, birthdays, and all special events. So sorry, I'm putting your business out there. UK for real estate. You it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for the advice and thank you for sharing so authentically. And I can't wait to see more videos. And a big shout out to your wife who is doing amazing things behind the scenes. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been interesting. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the time.